This is a writing prompt submitted by Smirky Shrugs, with a response submitted by our storyteller. The writing prompt is a simple prompt, which reads, "A life story from the perspective of an article of clothing." The story, written and submitted by user Our Storyteller, goes as follows. My first memory was the flood of light as the box was torn open by the store employee. I was the first one out, examined thoroughly, folded neatly and placed on the shelf. Then the rest of the sweatshirts were piled on top of me. I remember feeling alone at the bottom of the pile as the better colors were picked. A few people picked me up and made a face. Some thought I was eccentric, whatever that means, but they all just put me back. Seasons changed and all the sweatshirts moved from the front of the store to the back end with the flickering lights and broken speaker. Then you came in with her. You were so young and happy, teasing each other and holding hands. You both rummaged through the piles with purpose, intent on something. I felt her grab me and rip me from the back of the pile. The light was so warm, but her smile was warmer. I remember how big her eyes got and even the laugh you gave when she asked you to try me on. You did, even though I knew you didn't like me. "That's it! That's the one!" she exclaimed, the smile seemingly brighter. I could tell you were not convinced. "Well, it's super comfortable. I just don't like the style." "It's vintage, babe," she replied, and you finally caved. That was the best day of my life, feeling the beat of your heart move my drawstrings and the warmth of her hand tucked into my pocket. I remember the late nights when you put me on to finish a paper, typing furiously until the sun came up. I remember the cold days you kept me pinned between a t-shirt and a heavy coat. It was always great when I could warm your hands on those long walks on campus. Better when she was with you, holding hands in my pocket. I remember the first stain, meatballs, and the first rip when she convinced you to go mountain biking. I'm glad you never did that again. I remember when she borrowed me and I got to go with her to a sleepover. Her friends made fun of me, but she defended me. She was always so confident. She took me to the movies and the park with her dog. The slobber wasn't great, but I loved it all the same. I remember when her voice changed over the phone. I could tell she was upset. She took me off and didn't wear me for a while. Slowly the other clothes piled on top of me and I felt that familiar feeling of being alone again. A few times she unburied me, only to look at me with sadness, like I had disappointed her. The big happy eyes were quiet and small. She never put me on again. I remember when she took me out the last time, smiled a thin smile and folded me neatly. She stuffed me in her bag and got in her car. The next thing I remember was seeing you again. Oh, how magical it was to see you again, but she didn't seem to feel the same. You weren't the ones I remembered from the store, playful and carefree. You were serious, and so was she. You talked a little, but it wasn't how you used to. Short and tired it seemed. And then she took me out and handed me to you, but you didn't put me on, not that day or any after. I remember sitting on your chair, staring at the lamp in the corner, and the poster with the ripped edge that never stuck to the wall. I remember seeing you glance at me from time to time, looking like I hurt you in some way. I remember being in the dark for a while, in your closet, under your bed, then finally in a big bag with other clothes. Then a stranger opens the bag. It feels like waking up from a long dream. But you aren't there. It's a store, I can tell that much. The stranger stretches me and examines every spot and scratch. I wish I could tell him the stories of each. Oh, how I remember them all. But I'm tired and worn. I lost count of how many times I tumbled through the wash and hung to dry. Those aren't what I want to remember. "I think we can use this one," the stranger says to a fellow beside him and puts me on a hanger. I don't think I have ever been on a hanger. Maybe it won't be so dark and lonely here. We go by so many other clothes, rows of pants and coats and shirts and shoes. Then I hear a light cling as the stranger drops me on a rack. Around me are other sweatshirts and sweaters, some new looking, some more worn like me. I swing lightly on my hook and try to be positive. "We got another one!" shouts a very large sweater from across the row. "Welcome, friend!" It seems to be directed at me. "Hello?" I reply softly. "Oh no, with that kind of print you can't be meek," The voice only seems to boom louder as it explains, "This is the loud section, buddy. Loud and proud. Now try again." "Hi there," I say, with as much enthusiasm as I can muster. A few giggles can be heard down the aisle. Better. We'll work on it. Welcome to the thrift store, friend. I'm Jingle, king of the ugly sweaters. Do you have a name?" I never really thought of a name. I was always an accessory, not a person. Seemingly understanding my crisis, Jingle jumps back in. "You look like a Swift. Everyone give a warm welcome to Swift." The room erupts in a cheers of "Hi" and "Welcome" as the lights to the store flicker off. In the dark and quiet of this new place, I feel warm again. I remember that first ride home being yours. I hope you are well, friend, and that she is too. Again, this story was created by user ourstorywriter as a response to a writing prompt submitted by user Smirky Shrugs.